Hello everyone, this is Jason from Iron Mission. I've got Joanna with me.
Hi there.
And we did an awesome ride through Wisconsin. This is not an exhaustive list of all the cool roads in Wisconsin, but we've got some nice ones for you here. They're going to be through central Wisconsin, Door County, northern Wisconsin. If you're on a motorcycle, even if you're not, if you're in a car, these roads are worth driving or riding on. This first one is Route 67. We love it. We actually take this towards Door County. There's lots of ways to get up there. But 67 is nice. You start in Eagle, Wisconsin, right there on the corner of 67 and 59. And we like to ride it all the way to Oconomowoc. We hit the Harley dealer up there. Really cool road. Now, what's awesome about this road? Well, let us show you. We're not just going to stare at maps all day. And so what would you say? This road, on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of how hard it is to ride, where would you put it?
Oh, like middle of the road, like 3 to 5.
Yeah, and there's just not a whole lot of turns. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there's no elevation. So this is a road, I think, that most beginners could easily ride without any issues. Road condition, where are we at here?
Oh, it's great. Like up 7 or 8. No potholes, no bunches of gravel or anything. It was really very pleasant.
Yeah, not a lot of crossroads or anything like that. Got a lot of straightaways. We like it because you get a little bit of openness here. You get some nice tree lining, and then as you get closer to Oconomowoc, there are some turns and things like that, but again, nothing super crazy. And you can take this road pretty far north. We're just showing you up to Oconomowoc here, but we generally take this on the west side of Lake Winnebago. Is that that lake, the big giant lake there?
Yeah.
And it's a really nice road. Lots of places to fill up for gas. Again, going from Eagle to Oconomowoc isn't very long. It's only like, what, maybe a 20-minute ride?
Yeah, pretty much. Although we do like to Harley-Davidson hop.
Yeah, so, but yeah, from those two areas, nice short ride, very easy to do. The other ride that you absolutely have to do if you ever take the motorcycles to Wisconsin is Door County. This is an awesome place. I've got this mapped out from Gills Rock all the way down to Sturgeon Bay. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, around 45 miles, depending on how you ride this ride. But you're going to pass through a number of really cool towns. You're going to pass through Sister Bay. What else? Ephraim.
Fish Creek, or as they call it, Fish Creek.
Yeah, and then also you're going
Sturgeon Bay.
and you're going to wind up in Sturgeon Bay. So it's really, really cool. So here we're riding Route 42. It's going to eventually turn into Route G. We're starting in Gills Rock, and we're going to work our way down to Sturgeon Bay. This is a cool road. This was actually on the thumbnail.
And this road actually looks fake. We heard about it from an awesome waitress in Oconomowoc who mentioned, oh, you have to see this road. I mean, people use it for their Christmas cards and everything for obvious reasons because it's awesome.
Now, a lot of interesting little turns there, but nothing crazy, so it's a really easy ride. Why does this road look this way?
Well, actually, fun fact, it was created by an architect to help people slow down and appreciate nature. And he did his job.
He did his job, and he made it such a fun ride on a motorcycle. Now, this road is awesome because, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate it somewhere in the 7 or 8. Very smooth road, not a lot of bumps, very little potholes, well maintained, not a lot of traffic. And that's the crazy thing when you're going through Door County. When you do Route 42 into Route G down to Sturgeon Bay, there's not a lot of traffic. More on the weekends, I would say, right?
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, it's a really nice road to ride. And the cool thing is, it's not like a super desolate area where, again, you've got a lot of these really small towns. Most of the time, you're going to be riding, the bay is going to be right there. It's going to be visible for a large percentage of the ride, too. All right, so Door County is kind of an interesting place. How did it get its name?
It actually was, they were thinking of calling it Death's Door County, but luckily they did change their mind.
And why were they going to call it that?
Well, it was actually kind of a kerfuffle between two Indian tribes, the Potawatomi and the Winnebago. The Potawatomi were actually very peaceful. The Winnebago, not so much. So, do you remember the rest of the story? We learned this from actually a boat tour. The same two guys give a really cool boat tour in Sister Bay.
Yeah, so what happened was the Potawatomi, they got pushed all the way onto Washington Island, which is north of Door County, and the Winnebago were attacking them, and they had a big war, and there was, of course, a lot of bloodshed and things like that. So that's where the the area there that kind of crosses from Lake Michigan into Green Bay is called Death's Door, and they wanted to call the county that as well, but they didn't think that was going to be a great idea, so they just called it Door County, and it is an awesome place. We go here every year. This is a must ride for us. We're obviously out of the Chicagoland area, so it's not a crazy long ride, but it's still like 1,100 mile weekend for us with all the riding that we do on the roads that we're going to show you, which again, they're awesome.
Just something to note, if you do appreciate nice temperatures and not a whole bunch of gobs of people, definitely want to stick to before the kids get out of school. So they are actually ramping up whenever you talk to people who are running shops and everything, they are waiting for the mass amounts of people coming in. So, and we prefer to go before like the first week of June, where you're getting decent temperatures. So we usually luck out and usually somewhere in the 60s. It can go up to the 70s. It can go down into the 50s, which is, we like that for motorcycle riding. And then you don't have the crowds of people because the kids aren't out of school yet.
So the first town you're going to stop off in if you're going from north to south is
Sister Bay.
And why do we actually stay in Sister Bay? Why?
Well, because it's the coolest town, and it's actually noteworthy for something that you're going to see coming up.
And there's a lot of places to eat. There's some shopping to do if you're into that. And guys, if a special lady of yours is out shopping, Sister Bay has nailed it because they have benches outside everywhere. And so you can just literally sit there, people watch, play on your phone, take a nap, and it's going to be fine. Lots of places to sit. One of the things I love to do when I'm in Sister Bay, I love the boat rides. They are the funnest thing. They've got 4 or 5 different types, and it's awesome. This is where they leave out of, and so right out of Sister Bay here. And the one that we took is where we learned all about Door County and Death's Door and the story about the tribes that were kind of going at it for a while. But they have lots of different types. They have sunset boat tours. It's awesome. I can't highly recommend enough. If you are in Door County, you're in Sister Bay especially, spend the money, take a couple hours, go for a cool boat ride.
Now, when you go to Sister Bay, they are known for one particular thing, and that is the goats on the roof of Al Johnson's. It's a restaurant that has grass on the roof, and they put goats on the roof. So it's just a thing.
It is a thing, and they have pretty decent food too. So you can see there, we just passed it. There's the grass on the roof. They had the goats up there already. It's cool, and they do like a parade of the goats.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, so they walk the goats down the street. Once you get through Sister Bay, and it's cool, again, that's where we're at right now. Lots of places to stay. Not a lot of chain hotels, so it's more of the smaller inns and the bed and breakfast type stuff.
I don't think any of Door County, they may not even allow chain hotels.
Yeah, the first time I booked in Door County, I was a little bit hesitant because, you're used to seeing the Marriotts and the Best Westerns and the whatevers that you're used to, the Hyatts. And, here I'm looking at Bob's Inn, and I'm like, well, we'll take a chance here. It looks like it's got good reviews, and it turns out a lot of these places are awesome. Now, after Sister Bay, we're going to be heading south. Not too far, maybe about, maybe 10 minutes or so south of Sister Bay, you've got one of your favorite towns, and what is that town?
My second favorite town is Ephraim.
Ephraim's a cool little town. We actually like to eat lunch there and just kind of hang out. It's got a great view of the bay, which is pretty awesome.
Now, if you're looking for a place to eat and you want to check out a local fish boil, I think Ephraim is really the place to go. They have a number of fish boils that a lot of people like the old post office. We almost made it this year. We missed it, but that'll be on the schedule for next year. So a lot of fun places to eat here. And if you like to not only people watch, but house watch, I think this was my favorite place because they're all decked out for the summer holiday, and they're just really beautiful churches and houses.
Now, once you get through Ephraim, you're going to come up on Fish Creek. And Fish Creek is pretty cool. Got another really small place. Now, at this point, you're about halfway through this ride, and the rest of it is going to be almost exclusively on the bay once you get past Fish Creek and into Egg Harbor. But this is the views. This is what you're getting. Look at these roads. Roads are in great shape. Like we've said before, if you go during the week, it's really enjoyable. If you go before, let's say, the second week of June, really enjoyable. If you go after that and you're on the weekend, Some of these roads might be a little bit more packed. This is actually Peninsula State Park. We didn't veer off and ride this park, but it's certainly worth riding. We've done part of it before, heavily forested. Definitely got some elevation there, and so that would take this ride from, let's say, a 3 to a 4 up to a 6 or 7 at least, with some of the elevation that's in Peninsula State Park and some of the turns there. So just be aware of that. Now, as we continue south, we're coming up on Fish Creek. That's what we're seeing here. At this point, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a left-hand turn and follow this right down to Egg Harbor.
And FYI, if you do want to hit the Peninsula State Park, recommended, but it's also, there is an entrance fee.
So from Fish Creek to Egg Harbor, which is our next stop, the speed limits pick up a little bit. You might get up to 55, 60. For the most part, you're dealing with anywhere from 55 miles an hour in some of the stretches, but there's a lot of 25, 30 miles an hour through some of these small towns. But when you're going in between the small towns, speed limits are anywhere from 40 to 55. And again, as long as there's not a lot of traffic, you move pretty good. And for the most part, there's no issues with, like I said, road quality or anything like that.
Now, Egg Harbor looks really, really cute too, and they seem to have a lot of restaurants and shops, but I must say I've never been privy to shopping at any of these or staying because we've just driven through it, but it is on the list for next time because they just look really, really cute and very well done. And then when we get to the end here, we do have to kind of hop on G to continue down to Sturgeon Bay.
Yeah, and that's the road you want to do. So after you get through this area here, Egg Harbor, you can see we're turning onto G, and that is a really nice road as well. And I'm surprised at how little traffic is on this road every single time we come down here, because to me this is the way to get from Egg Harbor to Sturgeon Bay. I know most people take 42, but this is a great road and you're going to see a lot of gentle turns. By the way, the speed limits here do the speed limits on the turns. They're a little bit generous with how fast you can go on these turns. A lot of times, like, oh, the speed limit says 40, that must mean you can take this turn at 50 or 60. Don't do that here, because their speed limit of 40 generally means, yeah, it's probably a really good idea to stay within that limit. But it is a very, again, nice road to ride. Not a lot of technical stuff going on. The road's in pretty darn good shape, and as you're going to see, the views are awesome. Views consist of some open fields. We have seen all kinds of wildlife. We've seen deer. We've seen wild turkeys over here on the field on the left-hand side. It's so cool. On the morning, you get that kind of like that little bit of fog over there too.
It's real pretty.
It is real pretty. And the houses, oh my goodness, some of the houses in this area, either up on the hills on the left-hand side or right there on the shoreline, they're pretty cool to see as well.
And a lot of the second half of Route G is pretty much, it looks like this. This is what you're going to get, a nice view of the bay off to the right. And I think it's just really scenic and very relaxing.
Yeah, it's a great ride. You got tree lines extensively throughout this ride, but once you hit that second half of G, again, if you're going southbound, this is what you're seeing a lot of, and it really is something awesome. Now, as you're heading to Sturgeon Bay, one thing to kind of recognize in Door County, and our focus here is on the western half of Door County. At some point, we'll have to do an eastern side of Door County as well. But when you're riding along this side, Sturgeon Bay, I would say, is by far the largest town. I mean, it is like a town. A lot of these other places are, I mean, it's almost like a city, right? A lot of these other places we passed through, you saw, they were very small. So depending on your personality, if you want very laid back, very quiet, Sister Bay, Ephraim, maybe Fish Creek, the Egg Harbor, those are some great places to stay. If you want more of a city feel, more nightlife, more things to do, well, then Sturgeon Bay would probably be the way to go.
Yeah, but I was actually impressed with all of these towns. There were always places to park. So if you're concerned about that with motorcycles, there are lots of places that are not all gravel lots that you can just pull off on the side of the road or even, pick a parking lot.
And generally speaking, what we like about Door County too is it's a very safe area. I mean, I've been through some areas on a motorcycle where you're hoping your bike's still going to be there the next day. This is not, generally speaking, one of those places where I'm at all concerned about. And this is one little area of Sturgeon Bay. Again, it's a pretty large place, but really cool. Lots of stuff to do here. Lots of shopping if that's the sort of thing you're into. And if you are in the area, you got to go to Doc's Harley. Even if you don't own a Harley-Davidson or a motorcycle, it is It is something to see. From Sturgeon Bay, it's going to take you about an hour. It's almost 70 miles. This place is cool. We're going to do an actual full tour of this place because it's not just a Harley dealer. What else do they have going on?
Oh my gosh, it's almost like part amusement park. It's got a restaurant. It's got a antique shop. Tons of old bikes. It's part museum, and it's just a must see.
Yeah, the bikes here are crazy. I mean, obviously they've got a lot of bikes for sale, some custom paint jobs, but they also have these older bikes and they're all on display. And I mean, this is the type of place where if you're just into motorcycles and cars, and by the way, they've got a zoo, like a full on decent sized zoo. And Doc, the guy who owns the place, he's just a straight up artist. We got to talk to him. He showed us his shop. We'll show you these things when we do the full tour here. Trust me, it's a video you're going to want to see because if you're in northern Wisconsin, this is a must-see place between the bikes, the cars, the animals, all that stuff. And like I said, if you are into old stuff, here's a bunch of old Harleys. They have got some things here that will just blow your mind. When we got to go back into Doc's shop, it is all retro. It's all really cool. A lot of old cars. And they've got this crazy not a petting zoo, but just like a zoo. So if you've got kids, trust me, they're going to have a great time here because they have animals, they have cars, they have motorcycles, they've got all this they've got an entire merry-go-round that is based on just motorcycles. Now this last part of the ride, I absolutely love this. This is going from Doc's Harley up to Crandon. It's going to take you about an hour and a half. It's a little over 80 miles the way we ride it. You can cut it short if you want to just ride at maybe 64. I would recommend going at least up to Route 52 and then take whatever way you want back. There's a lot of nice roads over there. And now with 55, you're going to be going through an Indian reservation, and the roads here, well, they're a little bit different.
I would say it's good to note the first 30 miles or so, the roads are really not the best. You can see a lot of potholes, so you're going to have to be choosing your lane position very wisely depending on where you're at. And I would say it's probably going to be like a 2 or 3 out of 10. So, kind of crummy.
The roads here, they're not in the best shape. Hopefully, maybe if you go in a year or two, they'll be fixed up. But like I said, this is now year 3 that we've been riding, and all 3 times we've come up this way because it is a gorgeous road. The scenery is, but the road itself is definitely deteriorating. Do the speed limit, watch your turns, try to stay out of these potholes. It'll be fine, but you are going to be rewarded with an absolutely gorgeous ride. The road, if the road was in good condition, I would put this at somewhere around a 4 or a 5. It's an average road. There are some turns. You do have to pay attention, but for the most part, there's not really any sharp turns. Speed limits are going to be anywhere from, the posted speed limits are around 40 to 55 miles an hour. There could be some turns where they bring you down a little bit lower. And again, around here, those turns, I would pay attention to the speed limits, especially if you've got a larger bike, because they're pretty much right on. They're not giving you a whole lot of fluff there.
Plus, there are going to be houses and cabins along the way that people are going to be pulling out of.
And potential for some animals. I mean, this is a big area filled with wildlife. The other thing that's really cool is on the left-hand side, if you're traveling north, there is a stream there that people use for kayaking and whitewater rafting. And it almost kind of looks like, it reminds me of a river you might see in like Alaska or something like that, where the water's kind of hitting the rocks and going all over the place. It's a really cool thing to see.
And I know a lot of you are probably wondering, did we see any big feet? No, I did not. Did you?
I saw 5 big feet, but I didn't want to point them out.
Good. Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. So this is a nice road. Again, it's a long ride from Doc Harley to Crandon. It's about 80 miles. If you don't feel like doing that, especially because like for us, we're staying in Door County. And so just to get to Doc's Harley, that was already a couple of hours. And so this day, by the time we leave from Sister Bay, which is where we stay, to Doc's Harley, all the way up 55 to Crandon, Wisconsin, and then back, that's over 300 miles just that day alone. And so there are ways to cut it a little bit shorter. But like I said, if you cut over on 64 or 52, still really pretty. And then just pick a route right back and then head back to wherever you're staying. But these are roads that I think if you are a motorcyclist or just a person who likes to travel, that you should look at. I mean, they're really relaxing. Here, there's almost no traffic. I mean, this is one of those roads where you might be seeing a car every 15, 20 minutes. So it's not a busy road. And this is a road that we do ride on the weekends too, and it's still pretty desolate. Now keep in mind, for gas, you've got plenty of places to stop, especially right before you hit 55, just north of Doc's Harley. So get gas before you really hit the main stretch, but you've got a couple areas there where there are gas stations. There's gas stations in Crandon. Once you start heading a little bit further east, they become a little bit more sparse. So this is not a road where you want to be like, oh, look at that, my gas light just turned on and I've got 25 miles left. You're going to run out of gas. So this is a very unpopulated area. So like I said, this is just really kind of a part one of roads to ride. If you are in Wisconsin, there are a lot of roads to ride, and we're going to be bringing you other ones that might even be better. I don't know, but it's been a really fun trip for us. I would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. Are there roads out there that you love in Wisconsin? What are your favorites? Share with everybody down in the comments section below. And if you want to see that full tour of that Doc's Harley, that'll probably be coming out in a week or two. Should be a great video. Thanks for being here, everybody. Ride safe. We'll see you next week.
Bye.